folks. Welcome back to the iHealth channel, the NBC network, the FitnessFab channel. I mean, we're all around the network right now, and iHealth Radio with your host Hurricane H. Again, our topic is going to touch on a lot of things, and we might even go into business, and we're going to go health, mindset, you name it. Because my guest today is a mindset coach who actually works. With people to help them be better, and specifically men to get them to be better husbands, better men, better fathers, you name it, right? And he's got a very awesome story about how this whole thing manifested for him, and from business world, So without any further ado, I have with me Patrick Tromley. Patrick, how are you, man?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing terrific, and glad to have you here. I know we've had a couple, we have a reschedule, but it happens, and you know what? Better late than never, as we say. I
Hey,
have you, and
I'm
that's
I'm
all
glad to
that.
be here. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me. Sorry I had to reschedule, but we're here and
Oh
let's
no,
get
no,
it.
bro. There's nothing to be sorry about. I mean, it happens to the best of us. We all have last minute things and emergencies occur. I mean, it is part of life, right? I mean, you're peachy at 99%, but there's always that 1%. And that hits anyone watching or listening. I don't care who you are, where you are. Things can happen suddenly, last minute. I mean, changes happen, and it's part of it. And that's actually, believe it or not, that could be a topic on its own. I mean, adjustment and adaptation and just last minute, kind of tweak and it could happen, and everything in the business world, in the personal life, in everything. I mean, really, you have a plan. Plans don't work. Even in strategy, you put everything together, you align it, and then oops, there's a change, and you gotta adapt to it. You gotta change. You gotta shift. And if you're rigid or you're solid on your path, you might not be able to recover. But if you're flexible enough, you can make it up. I mean, that was just a quick tip on on a on us just rescheduling here. But really, I mean, it's like you'll be surprised, folks, like things that happen and what they can mean in a bigger context if you want to look at it that way. So, anyways, Patrick, let's talk about your story because there's some interesting stuff that you've experienced before you got into this whole business of mindset coaching. So let's go there.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting path to get here. I started back in 2000. Well, actually, I started in the mortgage industry when I was 14. Worked on and
Oh,
off through high school and started, shipping and insuring. So packaging up boxes, taping up the boxes and carrying them around. I think they're using me because I was a young 14-year-old. But I worked on and off through high school and then night crew during college. And then when I graduated college in 2006, I went in full time into a wholesale account executive position. So I was the representative for the bank working with mortgage brokers to bring business into the bank. And that was 2006. Had a great year, 2006, killed it in 2007. I thought I was a man. I was on top of the world. First year out of college, made six figures, had minimal bills. I was a man. And then 2008 happened, and I was out at lunch. My boss texted me, "You need to get to the office right now." That never happened before, so it was kind of scary. Company-wide conference call. I was at Washington Mutual at the time, and we found out on that call that Washington Mutual was being shut down. So that was not expected. So we scrambled, tried to find another bank to go to, landed at a bank called Home Savings of America. They were pretty small in the wholesale division, so we helped build them up. I had to rebuild my business again, became the top producer for San Diego, and then got promoted to regional manager. So I was running the top producing region for Home Savings, the Southwest region. We were doing well. And then 2009, almost 2010, FDIC came in and shut down Home Savings of America. So at that point, I didn't know what to do, scrambled, bounced around a couple other banks, made $35,000 that next year, had a big piece of humble pie served. And luckily, my fiance at the time was in a much more stable position and was able to support me, which being a man and thinking I was the man was a tough thing for me to deal with internally. It was a tough pill to swallow. So fast forward, I ended up bouncing around a couple other banks, went to a credit union, was not a good idea, then landed at another company which was looking to build a wholesale division. So I helped them build that up. We did very well, again, became top producer in that region. But I felt like something was missing inside. I wasn't doing It was always about making that next check, getting the next deal, and that's how the mortgage and industry, excuse me, mortgage and real estate industry is. It's always about that next deal. It's insatiable, and so it wasn't sitting with me. Right, we were doing well financially. That wasn't a problem, but I wasn't whole. I didn't have something, and I didn't know what it was. So I started going into that self development path, going down that, trying to figure out who I was, how I could be better, and I hired a mentor. And my mentor really kind of opened my eyes to what I should be doing. And I was always asking, how do I make that next check? How do I get that next relationship to get into that realtor's office so I can get business from all of them? And really, he told me, like, I like to say, he slapped me across the face with it. And he said, it's not what you need to do, it's who you need to become. And I kind of sat there. I'm like, what do you mean? And he said, you need to listen to your conscience, and that's going to kind of guide you. And I always ignored it, right? We all have that voice inside that's telling us to do certain things. And for the longest time, I ignored it. But then when I started sitting down and listening to it and getting into introspection, right? And being alone for a little bit and going through that, I realized that it is who I need to become. That's what my purpose is to become that best version of me, and then give that person not only to my family, but to everybody I interact with. And so that's been my process, is going through this and really working on myself, getting that mindset built to be the best version of me across the board, mentally and physically. And through that process of really trying to create that best husband, dad, and leader for my family, I got into great shape. And so that kind of built momentum behind me. Now it's like, okay, I'm doing the right things. I got a sense of fulfillment. I got a sense of inner peace because I was in alignment with my conscience. And because of the changes that I went through, I saw the positive impact on my family, my kids, my wife. And my wife and I have always had a great relationship, but it went to that next level. And my youngest son always comes into my office at the end of the day and always wants to go to the park. And until I had that mindset shift, that epiphany, we would go maybe half the time. I'd tell him, let's go sit on the couch first. Let's hang out for a little bit. I'm tired. I've been working all day. And when I'd tell him that, you'd see his shoulders kind of slump over, his head go down, and then he'd walk out the office. But now every time he comes in, as long as we're not going somewhere else, we go to the park and he lights up, his eyes get big, and he runs and grabs his shoes. And seeing that impact on him just by putting his needs ahead of my own, that really drove me to want to help people, to help men specifically, but to help everybody become the best version of them, because that's really what our family deserves. And so that's what I work towards every single day, is getting 1% better than the day before, and really inspiring and pushing people to their full potential. And mainly because that's what our family deserves. And as a husband and leader and dad of 3 boys, I have to be the best example of a man that I can be, because I'm creating 3 other men, and I need them to be positive forces in the world that contribute to society, that lead by example, that are healthy, that are really just solid individuals that can create another generation of that, and have this positive impact, not only stay here in my house, but go as far as we can push it. So that's really kind of the path that I've taken to get where I'm at today.
That's quite a bit of a lot of stuff there that happened over I guess a couple of decades, I would say.
Yeah,
But
it's been a while.
yeah, I mean, well, listen, it's funny because a lot of the stuff that you talked, almost that kind of we alluded to that idea of that adaptation and shift and change and stuff. And frankly, what you've gone through, I think most of the people that are listening, watching right now, either they have been through it, or there's a point of life where there's going to be a shift in their life. I can tell you this, folks, just by experience. No matter how you think you got it right, there's always some nice little, left and right swings that come. You get blind, sighted all the time in life, and yeah, the best plan you have and everything you can have, there's always things that you might not figure out, and sometimes it's out of your hands. I mean, again, great example is the pandemic. Again, I've repeated this particular example a couple of times because one example is that you did not see coming, and that's a big one, right, worldwide. But there's things that can happen in the family, can happen in life, can happen at work. I mean, that's the most common thing. I mean, I talk to people all the time, and that's a very repeated theme, which is, oh, I was working, we got laid off, company closes, there's that. I've been there myself. I mean, I've had similar scenarios just as you. I was just talking to someone earlier. Literally, one day we were on a trip. We were having great in this company. I come back the next day. I get a call. We shutting down the company. The ownership doesn't want to continue in the state of New York, and we closing. That was it. Simple. Now imagine you have to call everybody, and where it's a wrap. And it's literally a very difficult place to be. I mean, you have to readjust things, and sometimes you're not prepared for these things financially or mentally, and it's a big challenge and it's difficult. And so, folks, here's the good news is, as you can see, you have Patrick, you have me, and I'm sure you know someone who's been through it. If not yourself, you will get over it. I mean, you just have to be resilient, be patient, and don't lose hope and don't give up. I mean, there's opportunities. Sometimes things happen for better reason in life, and you'll find yourself in a better place. You actually have gone to the better, you right now, and you are not only helping you, and you've helped yourself and family. Now you're helping others, so it changes the dynamics. But I want to go back to the real estate world and the mortgages. That's a tough place to be. That's a tough game. Now, I have a little bit of real estate in my background myself, but not in the mortgage. Although I've worked with mortgages and stuff, for property. And I mean, obviously, if
Sure.
you have a property, you have to go through mortgages. I've worked with mortgage brokers, but being in that side of the business, it's lucrative, it's great, but as you said, 2008 was not great for many. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people even lost their lives after that stuff. People
Yep.
just couldn't take it. Many losses. Both financial and in life, and so it was a very difficult time. And then I mean, again, these things, they keep going up and down. You have to know that no matter what, expect that there might be some turbulence. I mean, when flights take off, they always expect turbulence no matter what. Even if they think that it's clear, it can happen. So turbulence is part of life, and we just have to be ready for it and always have a backup plan. Now, sometimes you can have the best backup plan and you still, fail it, or you still, not enough, and that's just what it is. So again, just listening to us talking today, know that you just have to be prepared. Now, we hope that never happens to you, and maybe there's a percentage of people that never go through it, but the odds of that being, the average us, is probably slim to none. So let's not go there. Let's not have, I mean, listen, I'm a positive person. All I'm telling you, no matter what it is, that's the positivity part. You're gonna go through it. You're gonna face it. You're
Mhm.
gonna go head on, and you're gonna make it work. And that's really what you have to know. And but if you can cushion that somehow, let's do it. And I love what you said. Like, it, I mean, look at you. You were in a nice six-digit, realm, and then all of a sudden you're like, at a fraction of what you were making, which means now I know that when you go to that level, I've been there too. When you're making that kind of dough, you roll in that dough a little better.
Oh yeah.
You enjoy yourself, right? You have better car, you
Yeah.
have better house, you have, your expenditures are up there as well. It's just the way it's
It's a
unfortunate.
lifestyle.
It's a
It's a
li-
lifestyle at that
it's
point.
it's unfortunate, folks, but and by the way, there is, a way around it. If you stay completely like, I don't care how much money I have, I'll still wear just no brand. I will still, the
Right.
cheap watch and stuff. Now, but here's the thing: you live once. Sometimes you want to enjoy yourself, and you see other people enjoying themselves. Why not? I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a prize that you are focused on to make life with, but know that it can be, a little bit disturbed or disrupted when things happen. And so again, as long as you're aware that it can happen, and a lot of great guys will tell you, and I'm talking about great, inspiration folks out there, they'll tell you, if you can't afford it, don't buy it. But at the time you could. That's the problem. We can,
Right.
and but then you just drop. I mean, literally, you drop. I don't know, 50%, 25%. From 100% of what you make into a 25% ratio, that's a
Yeah.
big dent. And so it will impact you no matter what. And it can happen anytime, anywhere. You work for companies. Unfortunately, let's face it, folks. I mean, companies are companies. People come, people go, from the CEO down. Things happen, and then the higher you go, also the harder to find positions or replacement, positions, because that's all it is. There's a few of them, and so it varies. Now, you were in the sales end of it, and making things happen. That's always a commodity that you can pitch and you can bring with you anywhere, and that actually gave you a little bit of a break because you were able to get through. But you're right, you were bouncing, because you're trying to find yourself somewhere else, and that journey is a little difficult. So, but thank you for sharing that, because again, it's a real thing that happens to everybody, and everybody should be aware of it. And when, especially our younger folks, where they're still fresh in their life and full of energy, ambition, and hope, and we want them to have that. But just be prepared that, things happen. Now, you don't have to experience what we've experienced, but you know what? Plan differently, maybe have different backup, systems, whatever the case, have a second career on the side, whatever. Don't, learn from our mistakes. That's all we have to
Yeah.
say. That could work as well. But there is something else that you talked about, is that you have become a better man, because your lifestyle changed. You actually did something that a lot of people in the same position you are, and I've had a few, they got a mentor. Sometimes you just get stuck and you don't know what to do, and you seek help. And that's exactly what you did. You seek the help, and the help, I love what you said. It's not how, what are you doing? It's who you want to be. I think that's what you stated. And
Right.
that's a very important thing. It's not, you're right. There's a lot of stuff we can do, but like, who do I really I am, and what do I want to become, and things like that. That makes a difference, in terms of how this, and that shifted your mind and changed the whole thing for you, physically, mentally, and emotionally and financially.
Right.
It's a
Right.
full transition. And again,
100%.
sometimes we need these tough times to get us to that point, and that's really sometimes a wake up call. And many people who have been through a shift will tell you it was that tragedy, it was that big moment, where something shifted in their life, and that's when you kind of like, "Woo, wait a minute," and then you
Yeah, you're
find yourself.
forced.
Yeah,
You're forced to make a change, right? And again, it's the best way to approach those situations, in my opinion, at least based on my experience, is to focus on the kind of person that you want to become, like you're saying, right? It's not how do I become successful, or how do I get that nice watch or that nice house or that relationship. It's who do I need to become that attracts those, that already has that life that I want to live. And by embodying those traits and those habits and that discipline that that person has, you bring that life to you. You attract it to you because you elevate your frequency, quite frankly. And when you're vibing high, you bring positivity to your life. And that was the game changer for me, was understanding that, one, it's not about me, right? It's not about my feelings, what I want, how I feel. Am I sad? That's really irrelevant. It's who I need to be for my family. Again, coming back to that individual, that ideal individual. And the more we can align our thoughts and our habits and our energy with that ideal person that we want to be, the better our life is going to be, the more peace we're going to have, the more joy we're going to have, and really become a servant leader. And you find joy in, especially as a man, providing for your family and giving your family that life that you feel they deserve. And that was, my mind was blown when I had that epiphany. And it really, it's a game changer, for lack of a better term. That right there, if people can understand that, focusing on becoming that person instead of all the flashy stuff that they may have, the cars, whatever. But if that person has that life that you want to live, if you study their habits, study what they do, and really try and emulate them, and bring that into your life, you will get there, as long as you don't quit, right? Like you were saying earlier, stuff's going to happen. Adversity is going to come into your life. That's almost guaranteed. If you keep your focus on the long game, right? That ultimate version of you, and you keep working towards that individual, it doesn't matter the storms coming here or there, because you have a plan and you have an action course, or a course of action that you are pursuing, and you won't be thrown off, because that ideal individual has that life that you want to live, or that life that you feel your family deserves.
Well, thank you, Patrick. I mean, it's a great, concept of, it's really who you are that needs to change, because everything else is still out there. Like, you can do, everybody can give you the formula of success, but if you are not yourself changed enough to be able to adjust and work towards any formulas, you're not going to do it. I mean, your
Right.
discipline, your self-discipline, your confidence, all these things have to be in place. Your beliefs, and your, like your real focus, is your family. You have a different mission. You have
Right.
more of a noble, I would say, target in life, a goal. And that's actually, is like, you want to be the better version of you, because not only you, because you care for other people and you want to be that. And that's actually where you're at the higher being level. And I love what you said about vibing frequency. By the way, it keeps repeating itself as a discussion with a lot of, guests that I've had. This whole thing about frequency and vibrations, we think that's radio business. It's a human business nature too. It's the energy levels. Is like, you really just at a higher pitch. And that's all it is. Sometimes we hear and that's all we know, but then you get adjusted, tuned up to the next level frequency. And now the world becomes something different. And we have that capability. Any one of us watching, listening, doesn't matter what part of the world, doesn't matter what your circumstances are, you can and you will if you're willing to do it. I mean, obviously there is that.
Right.
Now, I mentioned confidence, self-confidence. That's a big deal. So, Patrick,
Right.
what do you say about that? Because I know there is a big deal there for anyone watching, listening. If you're not confident in your abilities and your ability to make a difference and change and be a better person, you know, you're not going to be able to do things. So let's talk about that for a second.
Sure. Yeah. Confidence. I mean, I believe that self-confidence and belief in self comes from putting the work into yourself. Somebody that is not trying to get better physically or mentally, you're not reading to get smarter, you're not working out to get healthier, you're not going to have a high level of self-worth. And it's simple because you're not putting effort or energy into creating a better version of you. So the work instills the worth, right? So the more you pour into yourself, the more you try and get better, the more you try and level up all facets of your life, the more worth you will have, the more confidence you will have, because you know, hey, from this time to this time, I go to the gym. And then from here to here, I read. And then I do all these different things that make me a better individual. And because of that, I have the confidence because I know I'm working to get better. And you build the momentum because you start to see the results, right? If you think of it from a health and fitness perspective, that first couple of weeks when you go to the gym and start eating right, you're not going to see the results. But as long as you stay with it and you keep pushing, you're going to get to see those results. And when they start to come, then you get re-energized, you get that momentum and you keep going, and you're confident in yourself in the gym, and you're confident that you're going to lose that weight that you're looking to drop. And it's the same thing in every other aspect of life. The more you work on yourself, the more confidence you build, again, because you are putting that work in. And again, that work is crucial, right? And there's a reason why the flight attendant tells you to put your oxygen mask on before you help anybody else. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't help others unless you're helping yourself. So it really does start with self and the self-development, and really pouring as much time and energy as you're able to spare into getting to that next level mentally and physically.
Well, it's amazing that, you have to optimize yourself, right? And it's funny because again, this keeps repeating itself. The idea that we're going to be changed, just from a perspective of financials and stuff, some people do not connect that to your self-worth and your health and your body and your looks and everything. All of that attaches to that, and, anyone that knows this business well enough about how we function as a humans, you will know that these are all aligned. You miss a couple of pieces, you're not full. And everybody that has, acquired success in their life and became successful in a form, shape or form, whatever it is, and whatever they are today, they have changed their life to where they added, a fitness, formula in their life, a great nutrition, program in their health, so they're healthier physically, mentally, and then they can perform better and everything else. And that's actually, it's like, it almost like we have, if you got to talk, I mean, you're working somewhere, nobody's talking about that. Very few people actually attach fitness and, nutrition to a healthier performance in life, in the business world and everything else. But yet the people that actually are achieving things, you'll find them, they have every day, or at least they have a weekly, program where they work out, they watch what they eat, they look good. Now that's it. I want to just clarify something. When we say look good here, whatever your body's shape is, we're not telling you have to look a particular, cut, like, become chiseled or whatever. Now, that's a preference. If you feel that's where you want to look, that's great. But we're talking about being healthy, nutrition wise, and getting the right, feed. You need a lot of nutrients, to actually your mind, work better, to your blood, the whole thing. Even your sleep and all the stuff, is necessary to actually be your, optimized version, right? So it's not about the look and shape. Now, we refer to, I mean, listen, doesn't matter. Guy to a guy can tell you this. When you take your shirt off and there's a little bit of fluff somewhere, you're not happy.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't care who we are. I mean, we might not tell people that, but it's what you say to yourself when you look at the mirror. Oh boy, something is off. This is not what I want to be.
Well,
Now,
exactly.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead,
Exactly.
Patrick.
If you think about it, like when you were a kid, when you pictured yourself growing up and being successful and living the life that you want to live, I would bet that most people didn't picture themselves out of shape or
Keywords. I love that.
squishy
Out of
or
shape.
soft,
Let's call it that.
right?
Yeah.
Like they pictured themselves healthy and fit and in shape. Some maybe thought veins everywhere was what they wanted to be. Some maybe not, and that's where you have that variance, right, or that preference. But nobody pictured themselves soft and squishy and round, right? I don't. I think you can take that to the
Maybe,
bank and go
maybe,
that, right? Like so.
maybe someone, there's one thing to that. Just sorry, Pat. I just want to add that is that here's the thing: the reason you don't think that way because you know that comes with unhealthy issues,
Sure.
diabetes and sickness and illnesses and stuff.
Exactly.
So the reason you all think that because you think you're going to be so optimum, you're going to keep the same shape across your health and across your life, so you can live a healthier, more vital, more full of vitality life type of thing, and really enjoy that lifestyle, right? Enjoy your life through,
Exactly.
and as you age, things happen. So you have to build that foundation from early on. And like I said, I mean, again, someone can say to us, Patrick and Hurricane, I love my set bubblicious. It's all good. I love my little, fluff. It's all good. My wife enjoys it. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's where you are and you feel good about it, that's exactly the bottom line. But, does it really give you everything else that you are you happy? And someone could say, I am. Again, we can't change it. That actually going to lead us to the next piece, which is the core piece, which is the mindset shift. But you were going to say something, Patrick.
Well, I was going to say, depending on the situation, right, that you're describing there, could you be better if you were in better shape, right? Maybe you're happy, maybe you're
Yes.
okay with what's going on, but could you be better? Could you have a better life? Could you be a better example to your kids? Could you be better if you were in shape and in better shape? And the answer to that for most people is yes, right? Because it unlocks confidence, like we mentioned earlier. It unlocks that ability to push yourself more when you have that discipline and you know you can go through the hard stuff, which that loss can be hard. Muscle building can be hard. Getting in shape can be hard. But you've built the discipline already through going through this process of getting into shape and getting fit that now that confidence you have, it's going to allow you to be more aggressive in other areas of your life to create that life that you want to live. So you may be happy, you may be comfortable, but what if it could be better? And that's where I think a lot of people kind of they settle, right? They settle. I'm comfortable here. I'm cool. This is good. I have a good life. My wife loves me. She says she's attracted to me. I may not like necessarily what I look like in the mirror, but this is okay. But if you take it one step further, none of us were created to live an okay life. In my opinion, we were put here to live the best possible life that we can have. And if a little sacrifice with what you're eating, a little sacrifice with your free time now is gym time, and that allows you to reach that next level to propel your family to that next level. Meanwhile, you're showing your kids how somebody takes care of themselves to create that life they want to live. Maybe it's worth getting a little uncomfortable and getting out of that zone of complacency and pushing yourself.
Well, I've been using a nice little concept of it's time to get comfortable with uncomfortable, and again, that is just the reality of things. And we all love comfortable stuff. We love the comfy, world where it's easy, right? But easy doesn't really get it done.
Nope.
Life is not easy, and just as you said, no one wants to just have a mediocre, passing through this world. You want to have the best optimized version of you and outcomes that you can get. And everybody. Now, some people settle. I mean, again, there's different levels, but at the end of the day, I think everybody would agree that you want to have a healthier life, a better life, a good family life, and very what do you call it? Exciting, active to a degree.
Right.
Someone says, "Well, I love to watch just to sit, lounge back," but that's because sometimes we get to a point where you can reverse it and you feel that it's over and you just settle, as you said, keyword settle. But here's the thing: you gave a great example for like earlier when we were talking about your change and how it is. You were looking at your son, wanting to work out, to hang out with you and go to the park, and you were not able to do it. Like, yeah, I'm tired. That's
Right.
exactly where we are now. When you are optimizing, you have all the energy in the world, and you're really different. then you can do more with your kids. You can enjoy life differently. You can do activities that you couldn't possibly do, before. Yes, watch movies. That's fine. Everybody does that. We all have that, ability. I mean,
Sure.
sometimes it's good for the mind and gives you a relaxation.
Absolutely.
But it's not the day-to-day life. You want to do stuff, and it's also your health. I mean, your health needs to be 100%, as it's supposed to be, which is everything is working correctly. You breathe in well. Muscle is important because for a lot of things, and as you
Mhm.
age, that muscle is going to be important for you. So all these things are going to be important. And if you get it to a certain point, it's difficult to go back. The harder it's going to get, if you go, let's say, to 40s and the 50s, and now you're getting closer to the 60s, it's more difficult to actually get in shape the way you would do it. Now, it's not impossible. Nothing is impossible. Everybody can. You'll be surprised. I've seen people in the 80s that look like, forget about it. I mean, they're really
Right.
amazing, right? But those are the exceptions. But if you want to be not the exception, just to be who you are and just continue that way, you can, and you will live happy. And a lot of fathers, and I can tell you, even just by difference of age, I have, a kid that I had a long time ago when I was younger, much younger. When I had him, I was much younger, so the energy level was already up here. When I
Right.
had, there's an 11 years between my first child and the last one. And so the last one, the energy was a little less. Now I compensated through, working out and do stuff. I keep in shape as
Sure.
much as I can. Now, of course, we all get the lazy moments. You drop here and there, but again, you look at them here, it's like, oh, now I got to do some stuff about it, and you're going to
Right.
keep up with
Yep.
yourself. You set the target. Now, again, we're saying this with the mindset that it's not a very simple, process. There is some difficulty in this, but
Sure.
again, the mindset is how you see things. So you work with people to kind of switch that. In your case, you did that switch. You got the mentor, and all of a sudden you started shifting. Like, whoa, this is not the way to look at things. This is a better way to look at things. And now you became a whole new person, a much vibrant person, a higher, frequency, guy
Right.
that actually is emitting that whole frequency and sharing with others. And that's the other thing. It's not about just us, folks. It's the world that we live in, the environment, your family. That's the first people. Love what you said. That example always keeps coming back again about putting your mask on the plane, right? You
Right.
can't help anyone if you're not helping yourself first. I mean, you got to be in shape to be able to assist others. And so that's the first thing. And then of course, when you see your close ones happy, you're happy, they're
That's
happy, and of
everything.
course,
Yeah.
that's everything. I mean, it's a different feeling, folks. And you don't have to feel pity. You don't have to feel, oh my God, I can't do this and start worrying about a lot of things. Now, can you get sick? Doesn't matter how happy you are, you can potentially get sick. I mean, there's so many ingredients in this world that can do that, but the odds get lesser and lesser if you are keeping up, and doing all the right things, right? I mean, again, we're just taking the necessary steps. There are no guarantees, but the probability of you getting sicker, in one, and I love what you said. Can you do better? I think everybody can do better. Can we
Sure.
all? Can we want anyone? Would you like to make another extra thousand? The answer is probably yes. I don't care what currency you use in the world. Can you have maybe a bigger house? Maybe not. Someone that says, I'm content, I love in a tent, and I'm happy. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, your happiness is what you make of. That's different. That's a choice. But would you, if you have the ability, if your choice was like, I want to do more, would you do that? You would do it. Now, again, this is still a concept of where you stand today. If you think that's where you are and you're happy, then there's nobody that's going to change that. The only one that can do that is you, and that's
Right.
something that you're gonna see like for yourself. If something is not giving, or I'm not having a good relationship, I'm not really doing well, I'm not feeling okay, then start asking the questions. What am I doing wrong here? What's the hold up here? And you'll start asking those questions. You're gonna find the answers. and Patrick,
100%.
you
Yeah.
can help these people find the answers, right?
Right. And that's a great point because I like to obviously work with a lot of men. I work with women as well, but a lot of men, since they're mostly married men with families, when there's issues at home, I always like to ask them, what are you doing? Where point that finger at you. What can you do differently to fix this problem? Because as the leaders, 95% of the time, there's something that we could do differently that would alleviate this problem in a second. And so when we start with ourselves, again, back to that, right? Starting with ourselves and improving ourselves as a leader of the family, if you can fix yourself and optimize, like you said, that's a great word for it. If you can optimize your being, mental and physical, it's going to squash a lot of problems before they start, because you have that mindset now that it's not about me, it's about who I need to be for them. And in a family, as the leader, as the husband, you need to be the servant leader, right? You need to provide for your family, you need to give them the life and everything in it that you can. And so when you have that point of view or that mindset about your roles and responsibilities to your family, it makes a lot of things a lot easier. It takes away a lot of complication from a lot of different things, because it's really a simple question. Does this make me better, or does it pull me away from that guy that I'm trying to create? And if it's something that makes you better and pushes you closer to him, then there shouldn't even be a thought about it. Yes, I need to do this. And if it pulls you away, then again, there shouldn't even be a thought about it. No, that's not for me. I got to leave that over there, because that's going to pull me away from being a better dad for my kids, or showing my kids how a man loves on his wife and shows affection to her, or buys her flowers, or provides everything, right? Pays for the stuff in the house, funds the vacation. And really, for me, it's about giving, not necessarily having the biggest house or all the flashy stuff, but it's about the experiences and memories that you can create with your kids. There's a lot of things that you're not going to be able to do if you're unfit and unhealthy. And that's going to be a detriment to your kids. So when you realize that me being selfish, which was my problem, I was a selfish, like I like to say, a selfish man child. I focused on what I wanted, how it made me feel. When in reality, I need to be focusing on my family and what can I do to give them that experience that I didn't have, or give them that memory, or create that memory. And it can be something little as going to the park, like we were talking about, going to the park daily. Simple little things like that for our family, our kids, they're so impactful. And to us, it's not that big a deal, right? It's 30, 45 minutes at the park. Okay, cool. Well, that's not a huge expenditure of energy or time. But I know my youngest son is going to remember that my dad went to the park with me almost every day after work, and we played, and he ran and chased me around the jungle gym and all that other stuff. And unfortunately, there's a lot of dads that I see that aren't able to chase their kids around the park. They're stuck in that park bench on their phones, scrolling, instead of being present in that moment and really giving their kid that attention and that energy and that love that they need. So really, we have to remember that it's not about us, right? Like we keep saying, it's not about us. It's about our family. It's about who we need to be for them, the memories we can create, the experiences that we can provide and give them. And when we operate from that perspective, like I said, it makes decision making almost not a thing. It just makes it so much more simple, because it either aligns with what you want to do or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, it shouldn't be in your life.
I love what you said. It's not about us. We live in a society, right? And society is made of individuals, and then that's the basically the atom, right? And then you have the molecule, which is the family, and then multiple of us make the societies that we exist in. And it's really the building block. If you do it right, then you know that it's not about me, to everybody else that's around me, specifically starting with my family and how I make them feel. Then you optimize yourself first to be that the best version of yourself, that you can give more to those that are around you, that's your wife and kids. Now, I love what you said, servant leader, and I want to take a moment about that, because I know someone's going to be like, "Well, you guys are so man chauvinist, or it's all about men here." It's not the case. Historically, that's been, you're the man, you have that ability to lead the family. Now, there are opportunities where women also can lead the family. There's nothing. As a matter of fact, you gave a perfect example with your fiance helping you where you needed that, and you didn't have a problem with that. She was taking care of business, and that's really what it is. It's a balance. It's not the power. Everybody's got a role in a family, and that's just been the traditional way to do it. Now, for those people that may think one way or the other, when you're the leader, you are a servant. You actually work for everybody else. Even in a company, when you're a leader, you're not really the boss. You work for them. They don't work for you. That's a misconception. We always think like, you got people that are working for me. No, you're technically working for them. Even politicians, technically they're supposed to work for the people, not the other way around, right? So if you think about these things, it's a change. Again, it's how you look at things. You are the leader. You are the man in the home, the house, but that doesn't mean that the other party, your partner, is a true partner. You're there for them. You do your sacrifice. There's not one thing that you're not going to do for your family.
Right.
To make them, you do all the work, all the hard stuff, so they can have those experiences, so they can have the life that they deserve. And a true father, a true husband will actually deliver those things no matter what. They'll do the best they can to be aware. And I love what you said. When someone, oh, I don't know what's going on in my house. What is your role? What are you doing? There's always something that you probably, and that's the other thing. We don't look here. We look at everything else. Usually that's what we do. We point everywhere, but here it's a good exercise to start always thinking like, what am I doing wrong? What could I possibly have done? Maybe I did something wrong. If you start asking these questions, you will get like, well, maybe if I didn't raise my voice, and maybe if I showed up on
Exactly.
time, and you'll be like, that was easy. What the hell?
Right.
But at the time, you just don't realize. And if you're, as you said, like sometimes we have that self egoistic person. It's all about me. You're not gonna see anything. It's everybody's fault but you. And actually,
Right.
we do that every day. Most of us, we have this ability that we blame the world for every single thing that's happened to us. We have almost no role in the game. But here's how you got to look at it, folks. And at least that's how I see it. And Patrick, correct me. I see it from this way. We all exist for a purpose, and our purpose has to be, affecting everybody around us. And we need to know and be aware of what that purpose is to be able to deliver. And you know what? We're not pure, we're not perfect. We have the ability to make mistakes. So we just have to check every
Absolutely.
now and then on our abilities. Like, could I have done it differently? And by the way, this is for business, for personal. I mean, the first and the most important business is the business of life and family before you can do it. Everything else, is secondary because everything else can finish up, and move. Now, it all ties in with each other. But if you can focus on the core things, which you did, things will become a lot better because you can create fortune, you can create opportunities, you can create businesses, but
Absolutely.
but your family is going to be there once, and if you destroy them, your kids are not going to love you, your spouse is gone, and you've
Well, and it's a
destroyed it.
multi-generational thing too, right? If you
Yeah,
screw up
yeah.
your kids, not only is it just your kids that are affected, it's potentially their kids, and it could
Mhm.
cascade down generations. So it's a very important and crucial role that both parents play in their kid's life, and that's why it is a partnership, right? We're not equals, but we're partners. The wife is going to be stronger in some areas, a lot of areas for me, and then the husband is going to be stronger in other areas. But that's why it's a partnership, right? Because you don't want to have the same exact qualities. Otherwise, your relationship's going to be lacking somewhere. So that's why when you find that person that it clicks with, you're going to be stronger in some areas and she's going to be stronger in the others. And that's why that relationship works, is because the one can cover for the other or pick up the slack where the other one is coming up short. So it's, I know a lot of people get upset that I say that we're not equal. Men and women aren't equal. We are made to go together though, and we're on equal footing and equal grounding. However, we're different, and that's how it's supposed to be. And it's been that way forever, but it's not a bad thing. That's how it was supposed to be, right? Because we're supposed to be the protectors, the providers, the presiders, and the woman is the one that's supposed to push us, support us, love us, and really be that driving force that gives us the courage, let's say, to go out and do what we're supposed to do. Because then everybody's heard the saying, behind every successful man is a good woman, right? Like, a guy can't do what he needs to do unless he has that support and that drive and that love from somebody that he considers his partner. And I know people get upset at that, but you look at a lot of successful people, they have issues with their families because they've only focused on their self, right? In what they're trying to accomplish instead of serving their family and being a good husband. They want to be that dominant brute force. And that's not what I'm talking about. That's not the kind of approach that you should take. It's that one where you're coming from the place of love, that servant leader that is a successful person, and not only at home, but most of the time in business as well.
Patrick, this is not a competition. Men
Right.
and women are equal in some areas. We are physically, different in some areas. We are equal in terms of rights and stuff. We
Sure.
can do certain functions equally, and sometimes even, a woman or man doesn't matter. They can still do better one versus the other. That's
Sure.
up to the abilities. So those are not the things you were talking about, Patrick. I
No.
think that's where it gets lost.
Right.
are we equal? Of course we're equal. We can do the same job. Now, some jobs, are just men are better at. Some jobs that women are better than. But really,
100%.
it's a yin and yang concept. It's the two together coming in as a unit in unison to make it happen. And everybody's bringing different attributes, different qualities together as a unit. you become strong. Again, it's a team effort. And that's
Exactly.
really, it's a balanced effort. It's not who is better than who is. And believe it or not, women are our queens, and
Absolutely.
frankly, they are. We hover around them. We are the bees. We are the workers' bees. We are the soldier bees, and they are the queens. I mean, that's an easy way to look at it
Absolutely.
from
Yeah.
a traditional concept. We go to war. We go to fight. We do the hard work. We stuff, and their role is much bigger than ours because
Oh,
they've
it's way harder. It's way
exactly.
harder, especially when you have
Bro,
kids.
I'll tell you
I,
this. My wife travels, and I got to do all the stuff that she does. It's a pain in the ass,
oh
you know.
yeah.
And you
Yeah.
do
No,
it. I do it gladly, but you would you respect the work. She works. She does all the stuff extra. She doesn't have to, but that's the thing. You complement each other. That's what makes a
exactly.
relationship work and a family tight. And as we have started, all these debates about, who is function is what, and I listen, there are successful stories on both sides. And actually, same thing, I would say there are also good men behind success women. It's all that. But at the end of the day, it's that, that real sync, relationship. It's that partnership, keyword partnership. This is not about you versus I. This is about us together working. And I love what you said, because if we don't do it right, and we hear this all the time now that the divorce rates are high and everything, you see it happening where the kids don't even want to get married because I don't want to go through what my parents went. And then
Right.
and so if their grandkids are growing up, it's like, then now you have all these philosophies that go on, which basically dismantle a society slowly but surely. Eventually, it becomes like nobody wants to marry anybody,
Right.
and that's all there is. Then you get into all different society problems and things like that. Now, society has kind of figured out things to kind of support these divorces and stuff, and you can still have the life, you can still have everything, but that's not how it was intended to be. That's not how it's been for like centuries. It is
Right.
a modern age, and in some cultures they don't have that as much as we have in the Western world. So it is a challenge that we have, and it's almost getting there everywhere around the world. But there's some parts where it's a little bit more tight than in our modern world. I would say in the Western, in the U.S. and in Europe and stuff. There's more of that today, but really because we're losing that real definition of what that looks like. And again, people. I mean, I know people get upset because it's like it sounds like the man is still leading. The man is not leading anything. Actually, as a matter of fact, your mom and your daughter and your wife really are the ones who are holding you tight. You're basically doing your thing, but it starts with your, I mean, obviously father figure, and then you have your mother, right? Your mother gives you the love, the cherishing, the whole nine. And that's actually something that you can't, your father is going to give you some stuff. Your mother's going to give you some stuff. And that's all there
Right.
is. Your father sometimes can be working long hours and you spend a lot more time. And at least traditionally, that's how it happened, right? Now in the last few decades, I mean, both parents are not even there. A lot of kids
Right.
are raised by some third party people or daycare, right? They don't even have a relationship with their parents. That's because we've kind of got into this financial world of like, just go after the money, go after this, and we got to pay the bills, and who's got more authority in the house and who's got more. See, that's the thing. Authority is not who's got the authority. We both have the authority, equally. You have, I have. We work together. To be honest with you, I don't understand why people are still like your money versus my money, your account versus my account. Traditionally, we are one unit. If we are a team, we're a team. It's our funds, it's our everything. And that's how it's supposed to be. Now, again, some people say, like, well, no, my money is mine, yours is yours. No, you manage your household as you wish, folks. We're not telling you how, but the real success formula happens when that unity is there, where that in sync is there, where that well, not in sync, not not the brand, but that synchronized version is in there. You know what I mean? So it's all that, right? And then everything else happens. Your kids are happy, like you sit in a family, environment. Kids are
Yeah.
seeing it. You do trips together. You don't argue as much in front of the kids. Most of the arguments are for stupid stuff sometimes. You know, oh,
And money.
you
And money. Right.
and money is evil in a way. I mean, it's good and it can be evil. Again, everything in the world can be bad and good. How you use
Right.
it, how you play with it, how you see it, how you work around it is going to be the difference. And again, we're not teaching you, to be different from who you are or whatever. But if you listen to this concept, you know that we're not saying anything that you don't know, but
Right.
it's just being positioned in a way. Sometimes we just need to hear things to just like, maybe, and again, it's all about that. Now that's a choice. Someone said, well, you guys decide to live your life that way. I'm good the way it is. Again, if that's the case, it is your choice. You know, one day things may not happen, and maybe like you remember this discussion, like, well, maybe if I wasn't that selfish. That's the other thing. If you're not working together, then one of you is selfish, if not both, right? And
Right.
therefore, then that's when you don't deserve to be together. So it's a we had a show about resilient relationship with one of the best couples that I can look into. I mean, they're both psychiatry doctors, and they both are a long time married couple, and they do research in this stuff. And resilient relationships come with that unity, working together, give and take. It's not about me or the highway. It's about both of us getting always to a good point to decide. It's not always about a win. Who's going to be, I got the upper hand, I got the upper hand. No, it's about like, sometimes you lead, sometimes I lead. Sometimes some situations call for mom to be the leader, some situations call dad to be a leader, you know,
Right.
and sometimes, I'm off, my game. That's where your wife is there for you, and vice versa. One is there for the other, not just for the kids, to keep the unity. And if you really care about each other, you will do that. Again, we're not talking about love and relationships here, but but it is part of shifting your mind into
Right.
becoming better. And I think your core point was you become someone better because you want to be better for your family and to be the best. I mean, literally, what you're saying is like, I want to be there for them. I want to be their father figure, for the kids. I want to be a good husband. I want to be optimized to them so they can have the life that they deserve because that's what you build. There's no shame in that, man. I mean, I appreciate that personally, and, again, here's the other thing. We might agree to disagree, some folks, no matter what, that's just the fact it is. Everybody's got an opinion about, their way of doing things. And that's okay too, folks. So we respect everybody's opinion. This is just one of many opinions, even though this is kind of like the historic opinion. So that's all I have to say about that. So
At the end of the day, it's about putting your needs last and putting your family or your people's needs first, right? Purpose over pleasure. Your purpose should be the most important thing instead of you chasing that dopamine hit, chasing that pleasure of sitting and watching TV when you could be doing something that's going to give your kids joy or your wife joy. Maybe you could clean the kitchen so that your wife doesn't have to, if that's what the normal roles are. Just little things and really thinking about their needs instead of yourself. When you do that, relationships work a lot better. And it's not just a husband-wife relationship. It's a friendship. It's a business relationship. It's father to son, mother to daughter, mother to son. When you put somebody else's needs ahead of yours, they can see that. Maybe not the kids, but an adult will see that. And it's going to foster a good, solid, symbiotic relationship, right? It's that yin and the yang that you were talking about earlier, because each one of you now is looking to, it becomes kind of like a friendly competition, right? How can I do something that was better than she did for me last time? And when you get to that place, you're winning, right? You're winning at the relationship game. It's a very successful relationship. There are still going to be ups and downs. No relationship is perfect. Mine is not perfect by any means, but I would put my marriage up against anybody else's marriage because both my wife and I come from that same kind of mindset that what can I do to help? What can I do to make her life or her day easier or better? How can I give her a break from the kids? Or how can I maybe make dinner tonight and that way she doesn't have to? Whatever it might be, you're thinking of a way that you can give them a better experience in life, a better 15, 20 minutes, whatever it might be. But it just shows that you're actually thinking of them instead of yourself. And again, that purpose over pleasure and putting your needs in the back seat and putting theirs in the not necessarily the driver, but in the front seat. That is such a lubricant for a good, smooth running relationship. That for me was a huge game changer in my relationship with my wife. And like I said earlier, we've had a good relationship. We don't fight really, we don't bicker, we don't really do any of that stuff. And it's because, like I said, we come from that place of really trying to give the other person everything we can. So I people that have, and I have friends that have marriage issues and that kind of stuff, and they're asking us, what do we do? How do you guys have fun together? How do you guys keep that relationship and that spark going? And it comes from that place of really wanting to give them everything that you can. So if the listeners are struggling with anything like that, try that, because it seems simple, it seems silly to some people, but when you put somebody else's needs ahead of yours, they do recognize it, and they take it in, and you will see a different, not necessarily a different side of them, but you'll see them start to change. So they'll start to do different things because they're vibing off of you, and because you're getting better, you're doing things that make their life better, make their life easier. They're going to gravitate towards that, and you're going to build and foster a stronger relationship.
Well, thank you. And it's funny, as I'm listening to you, and what I was thinking about is that a lot of the historic, debate about the relationship and the man and the woman, all this stuff comes from the idea that some men, put in place the concept that they're superior in a way because they can do certain things and women can do it and they can do the bit. But that was all wrong to start with. So they're not the
Yeah, those
actual.
guys are idiots. Those
Yeah,
guys are
exactly.
idiots. You
Yeah,
don't
they're
want to
not.
listen to them.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the ones that ruined it for the rest of the world, that actually did it right. And so it became, what the debate is against. Like, the man who really thinks women are less, they cannot do, and they can be just, limited to certain tasks, will get paid less, and all the stuff that's happening, which is not really the real thing. The real thing is that, as you said, is you gonna give better and do whatever it takes for them to be better, and they can do the same to you as well, equally. Listen, I do chores at home. No shame in the game, baby. It's not, I can do the laundry, I can do the dishes, I can do the vacuum, I can clean out, I can do all kind of stuff. There's nothing. And you know what? My wife helps me, I help her. There's nothing wrong with that. We work together in the business. Same thing. We support each other. I'm in her corner, she's in my corner. When you get to that, that's really what it's all about. Now, you could, easily, as you said, it sounds difficult. That's because one is not willing to make that transition, the little sacrifice. It's a
Right.
little sacrifice. Your ego should not be high. If you really
And
care about someone,
that's the problem right there, is the ego. It's like, oh, I tried this one thing and she didn't do anything different. And it's like, well, come on, man. Like, you just did one thing that was kind of out of the blue, and then you expect her to completely change or completely do something different. This is like a process, just like losing fat is, right? You're not going to drop 50 pounds in 2 days. It's a process that you have to repeat over and over and over. And you're really establishing a new behavior, and you're setting a new standard for your behavior with your spouse, your wife, your husband, whoever it might be. But you have to keep going. You can't just do it once or twice and expect things to change, just like everything else in life, right? It's a process. It's not, oh, I tried, I'm going back. Screw this. This is stupid. She's not doing it. I don't want to do it either. That's a very small-minded, selfish point of view. And you have to really be in it not to get something out of it, right? It's the motivation behind it that's going to determine whether or not it's successful. Just like most business ventures and anything else, you have to be coming with the right heart behind it. Like, you really want to serve, you really want to give her that life that you think she deserves, you feel she deserves. You want to serve her, not, oh, I'm going to do the dishes so that maybe I can go play golf on Saturday and she won't be mad. That's not the right kind of approach to take with it.
yeah, again, it's not a quid pro quo situation. Is really you're doing the right thing, without the expectation, and by default, that reciprocity should exist on the other side, and therefore you have no problems. The minute there's the condition of like me doing something, if you doing the other stuff, or if we meet again, then basically that relationship is already doomed. I mean, I'm not a marriage counselor here or anything,
Either.
but I can tell you, it would happen just like two friends. Let's say we're boys, right? And you and and I don't come, to things. I'm not really showing up, when you need me. What would you need to be my friend? You're just gonna bounce, and that's it. I mean, that's exactly what happens. We're
Right.
not made for each other, and that happens for friendship. It happens specifically in the family. It happens in business. It happens everywhere. It's all about doing, as you said. It's not about you. It's about the others. How can I
Right.
do? How can I change to be better for everybody else? And that's actually the best formula of anybody is that's watching and listening. If it gets to you, I mean, obviously that's it. And again, we have not said anything that is not something that we don't know about. Everybody's
Right.
kind of aware of these things. It's just how
Right.
we have opinions about them. And some opinions are stronger than others in terms of where that's because we tend to believe in what we believe and we don't want that change. But if you open it up to really like, really, that might work, maybe again, try it. Worst case, what are you going to do? Try it, test it out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But do it with the purpose of like you want to change. And again, that goes to your core work is that you help people mindset shift,
Right.
from where they are today to becoming better. And becoming better is only going to happen by you, transforming you and your relationship with everybody around you. And then you'll see the results. The fruits of your work they're gonna be right in front of you. You have a better
Exactly.
life, you better health, you have a better relationship with people, you smile better probably, you have better relationship with people. You walk in the street, people are, hey Patrick, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
I mean, your energy, as you said, that frequency is gonna reflect, in a big terms. I mean, it's gonna be big. And
It's
people will
it's
see it.
measurable. It's measurable, and it's really. I didn't believe in the whole vibe and energy. I thought it was kind of like woo, like weirdo kind of stuff. But having gone through the process and really experiencing it myself, it's legit. Like we're all energy, right? Everything that's made up is energy, and everything has a different rate of vibration. That's science. So when you can push yourself to grow and have a growth mindset, you're going to raise that rate of vibration. Your energy is going to get to that next level up. And because of science, that means you're vibrating at a higher level, right? So it is a real and true thing, and it does attract positivity to your life because that's what you're looking for, that's what you're focusing on, and that's what you're pushing and growing towards is a positive, better existence. And the way the brain works, especially, is it filters out the negativity, the nonsense, the stuff that's not in alignment with what you're trying to accomplish or who you're trying to be. And it's going to dial in and focus more on that positive stuff. You're going to see opportunities in negative situations. You're going to see life is happening for you and not to you. So when you have that mindset shift of, okay, I'm in a tunnel, but I see that little light down there in the corner. I see it, and I'm going to keep going towards it because it's going to get bigger. Yeah, it sucks. It's dark and scary, but if I keep going towards that light, it gets brighter. It's that same kind of thing. You're looking for the opportunity in that darkness, in that bad situation that you might be in. Keep going and keep going towards that positivity because it's going to change everything in your life. And it's incredible how quickly it can happen once it starts to happen. It's not going to happen, like I said earlier, it's not going to be, okay, I did a couple good things, a couple good days, I ate right, I didn't go to McDonald's today. Why am I not feeling better? Why am I not in better shape? Well, it's a process, right? And you're building the foundation, and from that foundation, then you can construct that building or that new life of yours and that better individual that you are, who is that higher vibe, that higher level, that higher frequency. And again, at the end of the day, if you don't quit, you will get to that end goal, that ultimate version of you. It's just too many of us, unfortunately, stop short. And especially in business, right? We go hard out the gate in business for 6 months, maybe a year, but we don't get the traction that we want, and we throw up our hands and we're done. And now we're back to our 9 to 5 working for somebody else that we can't stand doing. I've done that before a couple times.
I would concur to that, man. Patrick, it's funny because, different analogy. I mean, a plane, it has to do a whole push to get into a cruise altitude, right?
Right.
You taking a hike up the mountain, I mean, it's going to be rough going up, but then coming down will be a breeze. You got to put the work in, and you have to be consistent. You got to be patient. You're right. You can't give up at the first, little, oh my God, it's a marathon, folks. It's just life. And whatever it is that you focus on, business specifically, same families are exactly what that is. If you don't put the work and the time and the energy and the patience, ain't gonna happen. It's gonna be, you're gonna be like, a lot of people don't give it a shot. They're just like, oops, this is not it, and I'm out. They
Yeah.
just break out sooner than later because they just can't. And again, the reason sometimes people do that is because they're not willing to make the sacrifice, to be that servant, as you said. And
Right.
that's on both sides. And maybe even, I would say, maybe even men should be even more, servient, than, because, you know, to take away that whole feeling that, I'm the man, you're the man by default. Nobody's taking that away from you. If
And
you are,
that's that
you are.
ego again. That's the ego. If we can pull our ego out of the way, then a lot of things change, right? And then you can easily step into that role as servant leader. But when
There's a
we get into
difference.
the ego,
Yeah, yeah,
go
go ahead,
ahead.
Patrick. No, I was gonna say there's a difference between being macho man and being a man.
Right.
you know,
Exactly.
you know,
That whole machismo, that
yeah.
the chauvinist, that kind of that's just silly. I mean, come on. Innately, we're all equal, right? But like we said earlier, some are stronger at other things than others, and we're partners. So that stuff to me is just silly. And really, I think the people that first thought of that, or the ones that still subscribe to that, are weak. ultimately they're weak, and that's why they project that onto somebody else. And so when you have a man that is strong in who he is in his character and understands the proper roles and responsibilities and how to fulfill them, he's not that guy that's going to tell a woman, "Oh, stay in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant," that kind of nonsense. He's going to be the guy that says, "Hey, let me take you out to dinner tonight," or "Hey, let me do this for you tonight," or "Hey, let me give you this experience," or "Hey, I was thinking you might like this." And he's going to have all these ideas and all these different experiences that he's going to want to give to his woman or give to his family. And it's the weak man that tries to keep somebody down for some nonsensical reason.
You know, I'm going to give an example that probably people will relate to more. In the workplace, you got bosses that have weaknesses and they have power trips, and the reason they do that because they want to be claimed as the boss, and they want to show I'm the boss. If you're really the true boss, you don't need to tell anybody that you're the boss. Your actions, or you become the true leader, and people will be respectful to you because of who you are, not because you have to flex your rank and you have to show like you're the man or you're the boss. And here, man and woman in this case will be the same in terms
Right.
of like being just the boss. Like, I'm the boss, you got to you do what I tell you to do. you know
Right.
that is not how it is. A true leader doesn't have to do that. Like when you have a title, you're already the manager. Let's say just the manager. You're the manager. Do you want to tell I'm the manager? I know you're the manager, damn it. I mean, you don't have to tell me who you are. But here's the difference. You have a job, I have the job. We are managing certain processes, whatever. Then, you do your part, I do my part. I don't even have to say that. And a true leader, you don't even feel that they're your leader. They're not even, you can't even tell that they're the boss. They actually just so simple, so easy to work with that you're not. And you enjoyed that relationship. That's exactly the relationship of a couple. There is no boss. It's
Right.
we are doing functions and we are working together as a unit. Everybody's got their own, tasks and stuff. Sometimes we cross over the tasks and we help each other. Yes, wife is tired today. I'll take over the slack. It's like, well, keep the dishes there. I don't care. Take care of the kids. I'm watching a movie. I mean, that's not how it's supposed to be, folks. The
Right.
best of us, are not that. You, like you said it, like there are a few that have some, I don't know, I guess inferiority themselves, complex, and they reflect that in terms of stuff. Sometimes it is just literally they need help sometimes, folks, and by the way, there's no shame if you're not sure. Ask. There's resources out there. You talk to
Yep.
a psychiatry or a psychologist, you might find that there's something that impacted you. Again, we talked about the ripple effect from family, that from generations. Maybe it's something that you just learned over time, and so it became part of you, and you can get rid of that easily. But it's not. You don't put that. Or you see a lot of couples sometimes like they're dominant. Like, oh, if you look at someone, you be like, you're scared, like, oh my God, the decision. It's not that. And so here's the thing: we talk about decision making. It shouldn't be one person decision making. It should be together decision making. Now unless there's a default. Listen, you take care of this. I don't want to deal with it. That's okay. Yeah, that's important. Sometimes you have this. You take care of this. I take care of that. It's agreed upon stuff. But this is again, it's all that shifting. From one side of thinking to a better side of thinking. You're basically evolving into this better being. And this actually, to your point, in your physical aspect, in your relationship with your family, with your kids, and in the world, because that's what it is. If you're a that person, you're going to be that person everywhere else. If you
Right.
are the good person, you're going to be the good person everywhere else. And so, where would you like to be? That's a question that everybody should ask themselves. Now, if you don't know that and you do need help, we can start with Patrick because that's what he does, right, Patrick?
That's right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and that's I want everybody to have this experience and feel this way and have this energy with their families. It was a game changer for me. It completely changed who I was to who I am now. And the impact for me, my main driving force is the impact that it's had on my kids. I speak with a lot of guys, and a lot of my clients will send me texts, they'll send me videos of them playing with their kids, and they'll say, "Oh, I haven't gone outside with my kid in 6 months." And you see the kid just running at the park, big old grin on his face, just loving life. And that for me, like I get emotional sometimes when I get some of these things because it's like, that's it. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. And look at the impact it's having on your kid. Because our kids are so innocent, right? And they look to us for everything. And most of us, at one time or another, don't put their needs ahead of ours. And so we gravitate to what makes us feel good, and it directly has a negative impact on our kids, me included. So now for me, it's every day I make sure that I do something for them because of the impact. It's really just seeing their faces light up that gives me that joy, and seeing my clients and even people that aren't my clients that are sending me these text messages. That's what it's all about, is really giving the kids that life, and especially the wife too, right? I haven't taken my wife out for 6 months. We haven't gone on date night. I'm getting text messages from clients saying, "Hey, weekly date nights tonight, going out again." And you see on social media, you'll see pictures or in person that you can tell that they're almost in that lovebird stage again. It's rekindling this relationship because the guy is really becoming that leader that he needs to be. And it's not by force, it's not by dominance, it's by servant and becoming that servant and putting their needs first. And it completely changes that man from that selfish man child that I used to be to really providing a high quality, a high standard of living for his wife and for his kids. And to me, there's nothing better than seeing that, because those kids now are going to remember that. They're going to see that. They're going to perpetuate it down, because we're either handing our kids bad habits or good habits. They're going to inherit habits from us no matter what. So to me, it's better to give them good habits, show them how to support their family, show them how to show affection to your wife. Because the house I grew up in, I don't remember seeing my dad hug on my wife or seeing him give her kisses or even like pinch her butt kind of thing. It's so I make sure that my kids see me holding on to my wife, giving her kisses, smacking her butt every now and then, doing all that kind of stuff that it fosters a good relationship, right? There's still fire there. It's not, okay, what do you want for dinner? I don't know. It's not that mundane partnership that it could be any two people. It's a man and a woman who truly love each other. They want to give each other everything and have a great life and create an empire together. And that's where we win. That's where we succeed, and our kids see that, and then you're spreading it out, right? It's cascading, not just in a linear fashion. It kind of flows outward to others as well, and you're having an impact on society as a whole. And hopefully, if enough of us do this, we start to impact more than just our small society, our little town or city, but states and countries, and really the world as a whole. And I know that sounds kind of grandiose, but you get enough energy moving in the right direction, those kind of things are possible.
It's not that grandiose. I mean, again, if you go to the basic elements, the family is the first unit, right? And then there's multiple of us, and it doesn't matter, again, cultures, whatever. This thing crosses borders, crosses everything, because they're very, doesn't matter what beliefs you have, what religion, these are the same across all.
Yeah.
Everybody should have that, and that feeling is the same. Maybe different ways of showing the affection, whatever can be there, but in essence, the same. I love what you said. It's that spark. It's that flame is still there. I mean, again, you need to keep that spark going. I mean, if once you get into a relationship, like a marriage relationship, that is, it's not for overnight business. This is a long term until that do us part, as we say, right? So
Right.
it ain't gonna be the same if you're just basically after a couple of years. That's it. I mean, you're in darkness. It's gonna be very monotonous, bad, dark, and it will actually crumble quickly. And that's the
Sure.
end of it. If you look at and you ask questions to all the older couples that are actually lived together for 40, 50, and 60 years, that's what they did. They kept that flame going, and you'll see them still going. They still do trips
Yeah.
together. They still have fun together. They still hold hands. They still do all kinds of stuff, go to dinner, and they still have that smile and happy. It's not peachy. They still have their bumps, but the bumps are less than the actual good times. And so that's really what it is. It's a matter of doing that. I think what your work, Patrick, is really giving people purpose. And there's no better purpose in life than actually having them, focus on what matters the most, which is their immediate family. And if you do that, folks, I mean, everything else is just a bonus in life, because you will be happy at work. I mean, think about it. If you work, you had a good, happy home, right, and you go to work, do you think that you're going to be, bad and perform well, wrong? No, you're going to be excited. You're going to be, looking forward to that, and then you can't wait until the job is over because you want to go now home and you're waiting for something. But if the home sucks, you might run there, you might do all the bad things there. You also can be in a bad mood, you're not happy, you're gonna snap at
Stop
everybody.
by the bar on the way home, have a couple drinks, then come home not in the best
Yeah,
mental state.
exactly.
It can
It's
definitely get
but really, it's you are giving folks the right, ingredients to rechange and reshift to a better life, to better self. And really that changes stuff. Now, when we were talking about society stuff here, we're talking about big things, right? Because if you can again make this difference with you and your environment, or immediate environment, that just gonna trickle to the others. And you said it. Other people are seeing it, like, well, what's wrong? How you guys do it? You know?
Right.
Now, again, ultimately you got to find that right match, and sometimes that may not happen. But then even that, if you do it right in the first place, you will know who that match is. You just don't rush into relationships until you find that right. There is that energy, that vibration. Love what you said, that we are energy. And yes, we are. I mean, literally from a physics perspective, with all atoms and electrons and quarks, whatever, we are the same thing as any piece of the universe. And there's quite a bit of electricity and energy just generated through us, and that's all there is. And yes, we have different connections, different vibrations, and we do have that. And these things are, like you said, it sounds woo-hoo business, like some magical mystical stuff. It's not. It's the science that we exist. What we're seeing is one thing. The world itself is something totally different. It's just energy, pure and simple. We don't even understand it, but you can see those projections. There are people that actually believe in that just realm, but you can incorporate it in the religious realms. You can incorporate it in life, and the science doesn't. It's not phony. It's real. So it does work. And yes, you're vibing when you go to a room. You can easily get attracted to good positive energy versus, and you can easily receive the bad energy and know what it is.
Yep.
Sometimes you get into a place with someone, you automatically, like, just your energies don't vibe. Like, literally, I meet you in a room and we're not vibing by default. And there's sometimes I just talk to you, woo, this is my man. We're just like,
Right.
shaking
Oh,
hands,
it's like
whatever.
best friends.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just like instant. And that's really what it is. Some people just present that, they project it. Some people have none or have just so much negative that you don't even get a sense. They don't really even, it's like a magnet, right? You get your right, partner here. You just attract the right energy, law of attraction, right? So
Right.
there's all kind of stuff, that's out there that's real. It makes a difference. Now, so Patrick, you do this work uh, remotely, or you have to have people with
Yeah,
you?
yeah, it's all remotely. We do very similar setup to this. If the person isn't local, we'll hop on weekly calls, check in on them, gauge progress, make adjustments. Really, just hold them accountable is one of the biggest things, right? Because for me, that was one of my big issues, was that I would say that I was going to do something, but at the end of the day, I do it when I felt like it. And so having somebody to hold me accountable, put my feet to the fire, say, "You said you were going to do X, Y, Z. Did you do it?" That is a crucial piece for most people to start from point A to get to point B, right? It's having somebody outside of your initial home or your immediate home holding you to what you said you were going to do. And I think a lot of us, and I still struggle at times, but we struggle with keeping our word to ourselves specifically, and that erodes that self-confidence and erodes you from becoming that better version, because you don't have that confidence, you don't have that self-trust that we talked about earlier. And when you do that enough, then you end up having low self-value, and it's just a real low vibrational state. It's real negative. It's Nobody wants to be there. Everybody wants to be feeling good, vibing high, like they say, and really pushing and creating a better life. And so the more we can do that, and the more I can get in front of people and really help them see, like, hey, yeah, this situation sucks maybe, but look at this aspect, or look at what it's allowing you to do, or how it's allowing you to build resilience, or build the skill of overcoming this hurdle that your life has right now. And it's an awesome thing to watch people really see that they have that power inside of them, because we all have it already inside of us. We just need to move the stuff that we've put in the way through years of living, and having bad experiences with people, or having good experiences with people that have affected us one way or another. We need to remove those things to let that power come out and really take control of our lives and our actions and what we do.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. It's like we all have this. That's the good news. It's not something that you have to borrow and get. It's all in you. It's just a matter of shifting. Again, it's diving in and just kind of removing all that cover business and get the real gem that we all have. And that's there. That fire, that energy, that positivity is all available. Everything else, we're supposed, that's our default, but we get really rusty through everything else that we get, bad experiences, bad influences. And then it just gets so deep that we forget that we have it. And 99% of the people that go through these transformations, they can tell you they had it all along. They just like it took one, flip switch, boom, and they're like, wow, I got this. And it's just much better, a place to be. It's just amazing. Now, Patrick, question to you that you also use nutrition and exercise format and all the stuff, and you give them the whole thing.
Definitely.
What's that time frame like for someone to through your program?
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends on the starting point and what our goals are, but minimum somebody's going to need probably 3 months if we're looking to drop some fat. Again, it depends. It's hard to say. Somebody that needs to drop 60 plus pounds, because a lot of us have gotten into the very unhealthy range and we have a lot of weight to lose. So you have options, right? I mean, my programs, I offer a 3, a 6, and a 12-month option. It just depends on the person's situation, which one's going to fit them best. And this whole process of creating this ideal individual, it's a lifelong thing. It's not like you're gonna, okay, I went through this 6-month program and now I'm perfect and I can continue on in life. It's like this is a constant process for me, especially, right? I try and get 1% better every single day. But in terms of dropping fat, that can be that's a faster process than building muscle, right? Building muscle is a slow process, but once we dial in the nutrition and we get a good training plan lined out for you, it can be 3 months to drop that 30 pounds. I like to say I can drop 20 to 30 pounds in 90 days for people that are looking to do that. And we've got success doing that. And really, it takes about 90 days for your mindset to shift, to fully commit and to fully accept and fully really understand that this is the new way, this is the new you, this is what you do now. It's not like, oh, I have to go to the gym or I have to eat early, or excuse me, I have to eat healthy. It's this is what I do. I go to the gym, I eat right, I take care of myself so that I can be the best version of me for my family. And really, that's why I leverage nutrition and fitness, because we are what we consume, like you were mentioning earlier. We are what we consume, and a lot of us eat that processed packaged food in the center of the grocery store. And that is just not good food for us. We need to focus on the perimeter of the grocery store, fruits, veg, meat, all that kind of stuff. And you get that single ingredient whole food from the earth. You're going to have more mental clarity. You're going to feel better. Your energy is going to go through the roof. And that alone is going to help you drop some pounds, because that processed food is calorie packed. It's just garbage nutritionally, and it has a negative effect on your mind, gives you that brain fog, low energy. All of us have suffered from that. I include myself included. And then the training part is really to the main reason that I use working out is for the mental benefits. It's for the clarity. It's for getting into that flow state. Everybody's heard of the runner's high. Well, really what that is when oxygenated blood hits your prefrontal cortex, it allows it to essentially get fired up and turned on and ready to go. So each time you push yourself physically, and you don't have to go to a gym, you can do it at your home. I've done most of my training from my garage. You can do it body weight. There's so many different ways of doing this, but the whole goal is to get you from a regular mindset, an average mindset, into that flow state where you are ready to go, ready to attack the day, ready to be that best version of you for your family. And you can't get into that state if you're eating garbage food. So the nutrition and the working out or the training go hand in hand. And again, the fuel is the most important thing. We have to think of food as fuel, right? Because our body is a machine. And if we're putting in crap fuel, that machine isn't going to be able to perform at its highest potential. When you put in good quality racing fuel, jet fuel, let's call it, you're going to be able to run with the jets and be as good as you can be at that given time. And then next day, when you get 1% better, you're going to be that 1% better, right? So it's that process of going continually, putting in the good fuel, taking care of the body, pushing it so that you can be mentally acute and on point, repeated day after day after day, and then putting your purpose ahead of your pleasure. And really, that's that magic recipe there to create that ideal individual that is a servant leader for his family and his community.
Well, it's funny. You used some powerful words, and one of them being nutrition and not diet. A lot of
Yeah.
people, because you talked about losing fat, and a lot of people would automatically, defer to the idea of losing fat equates, let's get a diet and just deprive and the nowhere you mentioned that. What you mentioned is that eat the right stuff, the right fuel. As you said, you got to pump in the real energy sources that will get you going, as opposed to just depriving your body, and then you get those yo-yo, formulas that
Yep.
eventually, are not consistent because, as you said, another key word is the commitment. This is not, overnight. This is not something that's going to end, as you said, 3 months or 6 or 12. This is, you're in for the duration of your life, and as long as you maintain it, plus if it becomes you, then
Right.
there's a point of no return where you're just going to keep up, unless some events happen in your life. At that point, you already have the steps. You can just reset yourself, but hopefully you don't have to do it. And then you also use the keyword 1%. It does. You see, people think, oh my God, I'm gonna do all that. You don't need to do all that. You just start 1% at a time, and you add
Yep.
up. In time, you will get your 100%, and then you just keep, always resetting your 1% over and over, and add in some more. I mean, it's like you're sharing already the value. And people, if you're watching and listening, I mean, nothing that Patrick shared today, or the exchange that we had today, is in any way, shape, or form bad for you. It's all good, no matter how you slice it. It's just a matter of whether you can adapt to it. You can actually see the value for yourself. And sometimes you might say, I'm good, I got everything I need, but maybe someone that you have in your realm needs the help. Again, some people may not want to hear from their close people. Maybe you want to hear from a third party. It could be a gift to someone where you can say, hey, listen, I love you, man. Do me a favor. I get you, session. Let's talk to this dude, and maybe that can make a difference. Bottom line is, we can do good for ourselves. We can do good for others. And again, that's the power of positivity. That's the power of you always being, the others versus you. You want the best for everybody else. And by the way, you know, by just default, if you do good by two people, somehow good always finds you well. I mean, there's always that. I mean, that rule of karma and world justice, whatever, universe, divine justice, it always going to be there. Just do good and don't worry about the rest. If you're not selfish, things will manifest your way. You have no idea how that plays. It just, things happen, and they happen in a good way because, again, you're spreading positivity and good vibes, and you're gonna attract good vibes. But on the contrary, if things are not moving, just again question, why am I miserable? Why things are not happening my way? And then you'll start seeing, like, am I doing something wrong here? Did I do this? And then you'll trust me, folks, you'll find the answers. You ask these questions, you're going to have the answers. You don't need me or Patrick or anyone to tell you, but ask the questions. And I think that's the key word, is like, or the key, trick is ask yourself the question and be frank. If you're not frank, that's on you. But, you know, uh, nobody's going to listen to you. Just be in front of the mirror and talk to yourself for a minute, and you'll be surprised what the answers will look like. And then do I want to be this, or do I want to change? Do I want to stay in this realm that I'm in, or I want a positive vibe? And at the end, everybody loves a good time, right? I don't think someone says I don't love it. Everybody is looking forward to have fun, whether through drinking or other activities, whatever they do. Well, guess what? This will give you a high. I love what you said. That high when you're running, whatever the exercise.
Right.
You know, you want to be on a high, but this is a different high. This is a good high, not the bad high that
Got it.
will actually deactivate and ruin your health. This is actually gonna really just optimize everything in your life: your health, your body, your relationships, your business, everything. And every success story out there will tell you these are the same things that they do to actually get to where they are today.
That's
So,
that's it in a nutshell. You start with self, build yourself up, make the best version of you, and everything changes. It seems very, very simple, and it is really simple. It's not a complicated equation, but it's work. And I think that's where a lot of us kind of shy away from, is we're comfortable, right? But when we put that work in ourselves, we instill that worth, we raise our vibe, we put our people first, and that's where you get that high, and you're winning, and you feel that vibe, you feel the energy, and you're really all about pushing yourself because you see that positive impact and the positive changes that are happening because of the work that you're doing on yourself. So it's a better, and believe me, I used to go out drinking too much. Thank God I stopped that. This is significantly better. Drinking and partying and doing all that nonsense does not even get in the same universe as this self-development and serving your people to the best of your ability.
listen, I just listen to you, and I know you have. It's like the everything, as you said, is like the wow moment. You had that moment, life changed for you, and there is no way someone can change your mind right now. It's over. You live in a different, plateau right now. You're like different realm, different, sphere, and that's all there is. And folks, you can as well. So how can people reach out to you, Patrick?
Best way is I put everything I do, all my beliefs, my daily process. I show everything on Instagram. So if you guys are on Instagram, you can look me up there. It's my Instagram handle is the Level Up Dad. So it's at the Level Up Dad. And again, I put everything there from what I eat, when I eat, my training, my thought process, my mindset, all that kind of stuff. I document there. I post daily. So I try and give you guys as much value as possible so you can see the impact of working on yourself, what it will have in your life, because we are all 99.9% the same. So if it works for me, chances are it's going to work for you too.
I love that level up dad. There's that dad thing in there, like you caring. I love it,
Yep.
and people can reach out there so they can connect with you directly, and then you can take it
Sure.
from there if someone wants to program, and it's I guess worldwide, so that's also awesome. Well,
Yep.
listen, Patrick, any. I mean, I know you've given a lot of wisdom, but anything you want to just close the show today with?
The biggest thing, guys, is purpose over pleasure, right? Put your people ahead of yourself and become that best version of you for them. And that is the game changer. That will create a life that you dream of, that will create the life that your family deserves. And you get joy out of it at the same time. It's a roundabout way of giving yourself joy, and it's really through the joy of others. And especially if you have a family, your kids deserve that. Your wife, your family, your husband, they deserve you at the best. They don't deserve a subpar version of you. They deserve you at the best that you can be. So work on that guy, work on that girl every day. And like we said earlier, 1% better is the goal. So just get 1% better every single day, and you're winning.
Rick, thank you so much for being with us, man. It's been fun. Yeah, again, another powerful discussion and definitely a lot of good stuff that came out of here. And again, even for those that are the best in their situation today, sometimes these reminders are just a good way to keep up. It just keeps, reinforcing whatever beliefs we have that are already there. But you know what? If we're not there yet, then this not only, it's not going to reinforce, but it can start and kickstart, some of our beliefs and changes and shifts. So that's it for today, folks. American Age. We'll be talking again, new day, new show, new topic, new guest. Bye for now.